Welcome back to the Big Blue Lifers podcast. I'm your host, Mr. U. Host Jess Sabin is in the house. What's up, brother? Good evening to you, sir. Top of the morning.
Yeah. Top of the morning. Good evening. One of the two, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, I guess.
A little bit of a slow week. Coming up. We had that first show. We were all excited. It was our first show. Second show going in, we got the Jameis news. We had the Russell news. Not quite as much going on, but as always, I'm just happy to be here. I can talk to Giants. I don't need any exciting news to do that.
Yeah, I know that's why we got plenty of history to work off of. Because there's always something going on that at least in our minds. So I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just so-called Giants news. We got plenty to talk about, man. But we're excited. We feel like momentum is starting to build a little bit, and we're excited about what you guys are saying about the show on our YouTube channel. Thank you again for jumping in and liking the show and sharing some videos and kind of just commenting on what we've been talking about. So we're excited about this, man, and we're excited about building up what we think is going to be a fantastic product. So we're excited about that. We got a lot of things on our plate for tonight that we want to get into. I think last week we discussed the impacts or thoughts on the Jameis and Russ signings and just some things that could happen in the draft as far as the order. I've been getting hit with some crazy draft scenarios from friends and stuff, and it's just like, what do we do at 3? Do we trade back? Do we stay? Do we go up? Do we pick somebody that's outside of the names we've been hearing? Crazy stuff going on, man.
For me, in terms of like the craziest draft scenario would be like staying at 3 and then taking like Mason Graham, Ted McMillan, something like that. Like I've seen some people having the Giants trade back and then taking an offensive tackle, which doesn't make sense to me because, we signed the 2 backup tackles. We need a starting right guard. Like if we're going to take an offensive lineman in the first round, like it's got to be either Will Campbell or Banks out of Texas because they can move inside to guard. Like they have that tackle guard flexibility. But at this point, like I think I would, as much as, you and I, Yusuf, we always, we're harping on the trenches. I think I would rather see if like in the second, like depending on what we do in the first, if Tyler Booker out of Alabama is there in the second, which he might not be. He's one of those probably late first guys. If he's still there, I wouldn't be opposed to that, although I would have to see, what exactly our move is in terms of the running game. Because schematically, I don't think Booker is just one of those guys that can just plug and play in any system and work. He's not the most agile guy. He's like a pure power. If we're going off of like you play Madden anymore, Yusuf? You play Madden?
No, I too old. Madden came out. I was done playing video game by the time Madden came out.
But so
I've never played Madden in my life.
So you are you're not familiar with this, but some of the listeners might be. Yeah. There's 3 for each position in Madden these days. There's 3 like archetypes. For the offensive lineman, you have like the power guys who are more about like just physically moving a guy, and they might be, again, this is offensive line. They might be a little slower. Then you have pass blockers, guys who aren't as good in the run game, but are good at, kind of like staying in there, holding the block in the passing game. If your quarterback needs to roll out, whatever. Then you have like the agile guys that can pull, guys who can really do all that moving and stuff, they're probably a little bit faster, have a little bit higher acceleration in the game because that way they can pull, they can, move to the second level a bit quicker, stuff like that. Booker is a pure power guy. He does not have the quickest feet. He is not the most agile blocker. So if we're going to want him to be like going out on the move, that is not going to be his strength. I'm not so well versed in schematics as to tell you what exactly kind of scheme he needs to be in to succeed. That's something that I would hope that if, this is the case for any team, like if you are drafting him, you know what his strengths and weaknesses are, and you know that, okay, if we draft him, we can make it work. Which is why I think the best thing for the Giants at 3, and we said this last week, is to stay and take Carter if his health checks out, or to stay and take Hunter. And right now, I'm much more leaning towards Hunter. I don't, again, I was joking about this in one of our first, I think it was the first podcast or the second. I've probably said this in both podcasts. My main concern as a Giants fan is if we take Carter, the fact that he's an Eagles fan, he's just going to up and leave, refuse to resign with us, and just go to Philly again and break our hearts again. Just like
that's an irrational fear, man.
It is a purely rational fear. It is. It makes all of the sense in the world. But also, as a Giants fan, the Giants have been like the most injured team since like 2012. I think that stat still, like in terms of sheer number of injuries, we still dealing with that. And right now, like Hunter's been healthy. He's got some wear and tear playing both sides of the ball, but like, I don't know, man. Just right now, I'm Team Hunter. I don't know where you are right now.
I definitely want to talk scenarios because I think it's going to be fun. Maybe you can try to squeeze that into our format for the night. But in regards to the whole Booker conversation, not sure where I'm at with that. I think I understand why people are mocking him to it. I think ESPN's Phil Yates did a 2-round mock recently. I think it was early this week, and they had him going in the second round. We traded back from 34 to 38.
Buffalo picked up
and picked up Booker, and gave us a 4 for it at 132. I only thing I can see, or two things I see that make Booker appealing to Giants people. One, the amount of sacks allowed, hardly any. I think 2 sacks in 1,000 snaps. So that's something that we haven't been able to say for quite a long time, maybe even before our Super Bowl years. So, and then his flexibility, he plays left tackle and right guard. He can play both sides of the line. It's not inconceivable. If you can play left tackle and you can play right guard, then what does that tell you? It probably means you can play right tackle and left guard too. So that's a good problem to have there. Versatility, if nothing else. But I'm not sure where I'm at with that one, but that wouldn't be my pick. The scenarios I've been hearing, like I got hit with a scenario on our flagship show on Thursday, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do here. So the scenario was Cam Ward goes first, and then they take Hunter in Cleveland. And the question was posed to me specifically: now the Giants take Mason Graham? Would I be happy with that? That's because I'm a Michigan fan. I'm like, and that's what I said. The answer is no. I love Mr. Mason Graham, but I think we afforded ourselves the opportunity, to go BPA all through this draft. We talked about what's going on with the quarterbacks. I can find a quarterback in this draft that I think could help us and won't cost us a lot in terms of draft capital. But honestly, if we don't have to do that, I think one of the quality moves that Joe Schoen made, there's not a whole lot of them for me to pull from. One of the quality moves that he made was bringing in Russ and Jameis. I wanted that from the beginning. I had 2 different quarterbacks in mind. Well, I had 1 different quarterback in mind. But when they started to whittle down and everybody started picking up who they wanted and signing big contracts, I said, man, if we can get Russ and Jameis, I think I said it on open air. If we get Russ and Jameis, we afford ourselves the opportunity to get a quarterback in 2026 if we legit have to do it. If we don't have a choice, we can do that and have perhaps a decent crop of a quarterback. I think the draft class is perceived to be so far better than what we have right now in this one. So if that was so, we have the flexibility to do that. However, my answer to that question was no. Mason Graham at 3 is not what I want because I don't consider him the BPA in this scenario. Is Shador that? Probably not either. But Abdul Carter will be the guy I would think about. But if his medicals are not right or we have some kind of doubt, then what do you do? And my answer to the question was If we're not sure about Carter and we just don't know, go ahead and take Shador. That's what I said. The guys laughed and everything. It was all good, but it's a tough scenario. Three isn't an easy place to be. Matter of fact, if you play fantasy football, which I do, I have avidly for almost 20 years. If you do that and you have 3, it's not an easy spot to be. You think it's easy, but it's not. Number 1 is easy. Sometimes number 9 or 10 is easy. Number 3 is not easy. This is an untenable position for us to be in, to be at 3. 2 is easier than 3. But this is not 2 is not simple either. 3 is wow, what do we do here? Because this is not simple. If that scenario happens and we just don't really feel like Shador is it, we're not taking Mason Graham. We're not taking Chet at 3. We're not doing any of that kind of stuff. For me, in my mind, I'm a reasonably thinking person. At least I think I am. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, we need to go back. If we feel like Carter's not it, because he is a generational talent, and if he's healthy, and all this talk about
you take him at 3 there in mind.
Yeah, but this whole Kayvon thing, hold on, this whole Kayvon thing is getting on my nerves a little bit. I'm like, why are we hearing so many scenarios about Kayvon being? I'm like, there had to be some kind of fire to all this smoke. There has to be. So it's like, if that happens, having Carter on our line instead, if he is going to be traded, that's a boost up for us. So I like it in that respect. But if his medicals aren't good, what are we doing there at 3? We got to trade back. We got to trade back in the right place. We can't trade back to 6. We can't trade back to 9 with the Saints, I think it was. We can't do that. We got to trade back like lower into the first round. That puts us in a spot we can potentially get Dart if we want him. We got a spot we can get some good O-line talent, perhaps. I mean, some help at cornerback or safety. We really want to get lower. I mean, Josh Simmons will be down there at the lower part of the first round. We could do a lot. Gray Zabel, who I'm very, very high on. He has the kind of flexibility that you want as a Giants, that the Giants seem to value. He can play multiple parts of the line. I mean, we got to trade back in the right spot. So what are we going to say, brother? Go ahead. Jump in.
What I was going to say is a couple of things. First, I'm going to address kind of what you were saying there about, trading back. I think that if that scenario is presented and the Giants are there, and let's say hypothetically Abdul Carter, his medicals aren't checking out the way the Giants want. Now, okay. I think a lot of people, and I would understand this perspective, would be like, take him anyway. He's that good of a talent. Chances are if he can't start the season, at the very least, you're thinking he'll be ready a little bit in.
Okay.
But if that's
not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea.
No, I don't think it is. I think that's still what I would be hoping for in that scenario. Because I don't want Shador isn't some QB prospect that is like a Josh Allen. Like when Josh Allen was coming out, he wasn't some highly touted guy, but everybody was like, yeah, he's got the physical traits that if he goes to the right situation and develops, he can become something. That isn't Shador. Shador theoretically, I don't think any quarterback sitting a year would hurt them, especially if they knew that going in. But I don't want to. But Shador isn't the kind of prospect where I'm like, yeah, I want to just take him and stash him with the moves that if we had only gotten Jameis or only gotten Russ, then I would be like, yeah, take Shador there. He'll be the backup if one of them goes down. But having potentially taking your third string quarterback at 3rd overall in the draft isn't that appealing to me. I would not be upset if it happened. I feel it sounds like I'm playing both sides, but I would not be upset if it happened. But to get back on track here, if this is the scenario, the Giants don't want to take Shador. They don't love him. They don't want to take Carter. The injury thing hasn't come out. I think taking, answering the phone for New Orleans or someone first of all, who knows who's going to call, but anybody who's trying to trade up to that spot for a quarterback, you get that QB tax. And that means, like, even if you're going from 3 to 9, you might be able to command an extra first. I think I proposed this to you last week or so. Like this hypothetical where Giants are there at 3. They don't want to take Shedeur. Someone calls up and they're like, hey, first round this year, second round this year, first round next year, and like a third round next year, something like that. If that's a scenario where you don't love Carter's medical and you don't love Shedeur the prospect, I don't know, like you go back to 9, see who's there. Maybe you end up taking if Mason Graham falls, or I don't think Graham falls that far, but Tet falls to 9, something like that, or
no, thank you.
I don't know.
Like, no, thank you.
Like, I don't know who you would take.
I don't want. I definitely don't want to do that. I'm not high on Tet like everybody else. Like some people are. Very few are high on him at this point. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Tet, but you get what I'm saying here. Maybe you end up taking Will Johnson there at 9, or again, I'm saying 9 because one, I don't think the offer from 3 to 6 with the Raiders would be crazy. Not to mention the Raiders just extended Geno for 2 years, like 80 something mil or something like that. I think I saw earlier today.
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
I think they're going quarterback. The Jets, I don't think would be trading up. I think they're okay with Fields, and I think they want to avoid a bit more of a circus after the past few years of Rodgers. I
don't think the Panthers are going to do that either.
I don't think the Jets would do that.
The Panthers aren't going to do it either, I don't think.
No, I think the Panthers are like, hey, Bryce really turned it around back half of last season. We don't need to take a quarterback.
Sure.
Who's was that 6, 7, 8? Yeah, I think that was 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
And then that leads you to the New Orleans at 9, because Jags wouldn't be moving up for a quarterback. Patriots aren't moving up for a quarterback. At 10, Chicago's not moving up for a quarterback. San Fran, I mean, I really don't think. I think they're sticking with Purdy. Like, I could see a world where if Shedeur fell to them, maybe, but I really doubt that, because they're gonna want to have leverage over Purdy for the contract negotiating, but I don't think they do that in the first round. Cowboys, who knows? Jerry could do something crazy like that. But again,
as much as we give Jerry a hard time because his free agent acquisitions are horrible, as recently noted with his move with Joe Milton. So he's good at drafting.
I like that move for the Cowboys.
It's not a good idea.
I like that move.
And there's a whole bunch of reasons why we ain't got time to get into it today. It's not.
I would push back on that. I like the Cowboys getting Joe Milton. I think that was a good. I think that was a good.
You like Trey Lance too, didn't you? You like Trey Lance too?
I didn't. I wasn't a big Trey Lance guy. I think that for a 5th round pick, I think it would be better. I think the Cowboys would be in a better position if they hadn't given up their 4th for Mingo, but a 5th for Milton with the, having him sit there and be like this guy that he is a Josh Allen, where it took Josh Allen years to develop. Joe Milton is going to need years to develop. Now, again, that doesn't mean he's going to turn into Josh Allen. Josh Allen, chances are, is a once-in-a-lifetime scenario. But you're kind of hoping, Milton can, be there, learn under Dak for a few years. But this isn't a Cowboys podcast. But my point is if the Giants truly don't love Shedeur and they don't want Carter in this scenario because of his medicals, which I don't think I would fault them for, but I would still like them to take him regardless. And New Orleans, again, just for the sake of this scenario, calls up and is like, 1st this year, 2nd this year, 1st next year, bare minimum, something like that. Move up him 9 to 3, moving you out of position for those true top blue blood prospects, and you're stacking on the QB tax. If I'm the Giants, I don't think I'm getting a better offer than that.
Okay. We're going to come back to the quarterback conversation because we have to. It's kind of part of what we're going to be talking about tonight. But I want to play a little game with you real quick, and we're going to get into your thoughts on the Joe Schoen press conference. I'm not against the whole 9. trading back to 9. That's the area I wanted to be in because there's 4 guys in there that if we get either one of these 4 guys at 9, I'm a happy camper. Possibly a 5th. So here's my question, and it's going to be a yes or no question. And we get into the press conference and your thoughts on the presser. Is Shedeur Sanders better than Will Johnson
as a prospect
for the Giants at 9?
If the Giants are there at 9 and Shedeur falls to 9, and it's between like him and Will Johnson, I think you go Shedeur. Because
Shedeur or Will Campbell? Okay, no commentary. Yes or no? Shedeur or Will Campbell?
I think I take Shedeur.
Shedeur or Jelani Walker?
I think you got to go Shedeur there.
Oh my God. Shedeur or Kelvin Banks Jr.? You gonna say Shedeur again?
Yeah, I think there are very few prospects that I.
Man.
I want you to just listen to my logic here. It is different between Shedeur and these guys at 3. But if we are moving back to 9, and again, I am operating under this is going to be like the scenario that I propose, where we're trading back, getting that QB tax on it, getting that extra first next year, getting an extra second this year, and then the quarterback still falls to us. Like if all we got was like, I mean, I just think that scenario, like it's a steal. It's an absolute fleece. Where
this is under the impression though this is under the assumption that you wanted Shedeur to start with. If that's the case, then yes, that makes total sense.
The value. For me, it's value. And I don't know, maybe this is why, again, I would suck as a GM. But like to me, because in this scenario, I'm not just getting Shedeur. I'm getting Shedeur and a second and a first rounder. That's the thing here.
Okay.
Like I think Will Johnson is a better cornerback prospect than Shedeur is a quarterback prospect.
You bet your pants.
The value of the quarterback position, the position that Shedeur plays, is just so much more valuable that, if I, that it would take a truly transcendent prospect, non-quarterback prospect to like true. That's why Cam Ward, like if Myles Garrett was in this draft, I think the Titans go Myles Garrett 1 over Cam Ward, even though they need a quarterback because of the level of prospect that he was. There isn't like, for as good as Abdul Carter is, he's not Myles Garrett as a prospect, which is why the Titans are going Cam Ward at 1 rather than, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, because the need for quarterback is so much higher. So if you're telling me that even though I don't love the Shedeur, the prospect, but I can trade back, get an extra second and an extra first, and again, in this hypothetical scenario, and then I still get the quarterback, I think you do that because now I've also got I got another second round pick to work with, where, I can get Derek Harmon and Trey Amos in the second or something like that. Again, obviously, like those are both like borderline first round prospects, but now I can still get 2 really solid guys to fill out other holes on the roster. And I get the quarterback and I get a first round pick next year. That's my thought process there. Sorry if that was pretty long. Did there.
That's all right. No, it was super long, but I get it though.
Like I'm just trying to explain the logic, and I
got it. Man, I ain't that slow, man. I can understand.
No, I just feel bad now that
I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not sure if going into the presser is if it makes any sense now, because the whole thing was about the Giants not feeling like they're leaning toward quarterback at pick 3. But you have an insight that we don't know about. I don't know if it's.
Well, I think again, like that's at 3. like in this, like again, if we are trading to 9, like in this scenario, like that you were talking about, like I'm not taking Will Johnson at 3. If I'm sticking at 3, I think you have to, if you're the Giants, take one of Carter, Hunter, or Shedeur. I think those are the only 3 options you have. But if you're trading back to 9 or something like that, if you're trading back, then the situation changes. And I think that's what the Giants are thinking about. Because, again, I think it would take some crazy offer to get them to move out of 3. At least that's the vibe I'm getting. Like, I don't –
Yeah.
I think they were either moving up or sticking at 3. Unless, like, I don't know, Pittsburgh's like, hey, man, we really want Shedeur. Take our first this year, second this year, first next year, second next year, and first the year after that. That's how much we love Shedeur. Something absolutely mind-boggling. But again, like that's not happening unless it's Madden or you're forcing a trade on the PFF mock draft simulator.
Let's bypass the press conference, but now we're talking about the quarterback at pick 3 anyway, so we don't need to get into the press. I had some sound, but we don't need to get to that stuff right now. But let's do it like this, because with the Sanders thing, I kind of feel like, and I said this on multiple shows, even on a flagship show, and I got lambasted for it, but I still stand on it because this is how I really believe what I'm saying. I think we're getting kind of crazy with our coverage of the quarterbacks in this draft. I know the media is telling us this isn't a great quarterback draft. These quarterbacks are this and that. I'm reading scouting reports. I'm watching some tape. I haven't finished watching all the tape yet. I'm going to do my best to try to watch quarterback tape before that live draft special we're doing on the 24th for the first round. But I just feel like, people are saying, you know what, Sanders, and this is what they said about him, like he's not elite and so he's accurate and this kind of stuff. I'm like, some of the things that I'm hearing them say about him, I'm like, okay, my follow-up question is this stuff coachable? Because if you look at the quarterback saying, can I win with your arm? Is that your goal? Like I know guys that are in, some of them are Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Like you can decide how much value it is to you as a quarterback on your team winning games and winning Super Bowls. Because do you want a Super Bowl winning quarterback or do you want a Hall of Fame quarterback? What do you want on your team? Because I want championships. That's why I want Eli to get in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it, but I'm leaning on the championship that he brought our franchise. That's what I care about. Okay, so everybody should care about that theoretically, but apparently they don't. But can we win on your arm? That's what kind of question they're asking. But my question is, does that matter? If he doesn't lose games for you, what does it matter? And is it coachable? The things that you think are deficiencies with Sanders, because it's not accuracy. I mean, he had a 39-10 touchdown interception ratio. I mean, he was commanding the offense and moving out of the pocket where need be and just taking care of business. I mean, and did that against, some pretty rough defenses, not the best in the world, but I'm saying he was efficient. So it's like, what do we care about here? Because if we bring in a quarterback that can't be coached or it can't be whatever's wrong with them can't be fixed, well, it's a different conversation then. Don't bring him into the house then if we can't solve it with coaching. But I feel like the thing that Sanders doesn't do well can be fixed with coaching. My personal opinion. I think that it can be developed. Let's look at the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. Where was he picked at? Go back and look at his scouting report and what they said about him. Too slow, didn't have a big arm, etc., etc. All the things we're hearing about guys like Tyler Shuck, and then we're hearing about, Jalen Gabriel is a different matter altogether. We'll try to get into that tonight as well. Will Howard, Jalen Milroe. What is coachable and what's not? What can they coach up on these quarterbacks and what can't be coached up? Because that makes a big difference. If you can go ahead and just dump all these guys in the trash because they don't meet some kind of standard, I'm like, so what are the coaches for? What's your job? What's your role? Why are you here? I know guys in baseball that have the ability to be outstanding power hitters, but they still had to be coached. Got to be coached to learn how to recognize and things like that. So I'm just talking about Sanders right now, but it applies to all the guys that are non-first round quarterback options that we're going to be talking about next. But what's coachable? Can we coach Shedeur out of the bad habits and the things that he did in Colorado? If the answer is yes, then you take him if you know you can do that. If you think it can't be fixed, don't take him. For me, it's that simple. Do you feel the same way about it? Is it that simple to you?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, again, saying that simple is I think the wrong way of putting it, but there's nothing simple with
what word can I use, Jess?
Yeah.
Can you coach them out of the things you don't like or not?
Well, again, the things that a lot of people don't like about Sanders are, again, like Tom Brady is the exception to every rule. Like, generally speaking, you pick 199 isn't turning into the greatest of all time. Tom Brady is so unique. Now, I do think in the right situation, Sanders can be quite good. I think as a prospect, he isn't as bad as some people are making him out to be. But again, he is not Trevor Lawrence as a prospect. He's not, a traits guy like an Allen or a Lamar or even Mahomes was coming out, where it's like you see what they could become if you polish. Like, what you can truly coach up is a lot of the mental, a lot of the footwork, stuff like that, which I think Sanders actually does quite well. The issue is, again, he's not he's not going to be able to buy time the way he was able to in college in the NFL, just because of the level of competition. Like, Evan Neal was a blue chipper coming out. Evan Neal got to the next level and has been heinous for us. Shedeur will be, I think, good, but good in the modern NFL isn't what it used to be. Like, Baker Mayfield is quite good. I think Baker Mayfield has become better than good. He's not great, but he's better than good. I don't think Baker's leading the Bucs to a Super Bowl. I don't know. Like, Jalen Hurts is good. He's not great, but I mean, the Eagles may have one of the best teams of all time last year. Like, in the NFC, I think Shedeur could win you some playoff games just because of the other quarterbacks. But you need great quarterbacks. You either need an unbelievable roster, or you need a great quarterback to win these days. And I don't know. I'll tell you this much: Giants don't have an Eagles tier roster. They don't have a Lions tier roster. They don't have a Niners from 2 years ago level roster. And I don't think Shedeur is great. I don't think Shedeur will ever be great. But again, if I'm getting him at 9, but I'm also then picking up an extra second and an extra first, it's more about what I'm getting to move back to 9 rather than what, just sitting there at 3.
Okay, so this is okay. We here now. We here. So this is we're gonna talk about non-first round quarterbacks. We need to get into this shortly because we're almost running out of time and we haven't done our best in which draft picks yet. But I want to get into this real quick though. But look at this. We got to decide what we want. You listen to fans, they'll tell you what they want, but what do the Giants want to have? Because I was sitting last, I heard somebody talk about commenting talk about Aaron Rodgers and why a certain AFC team is still waiting for him. And they were talking about this at the meetings, at the owners' meetings. And what they were saying was that they saw him as one of the best throwers of the ball ever in history.
Mm-hmm.
Quickest release, strongest arm. And that's why even at 41, 42, whatever his age is, a certain AFC team is still waiting for him. He's not a Giant, so we're not talking about him for that. The part I'm trying to get to here is that we got to decide what we actually want to have in a quarterback. Are we going for a prototype? I said this several months ago. Does Daboll want to get a guy that's like or reminds him of Josh Allen? Because if we are, then let's just go ahead and get right to it then. I think I know who that is, but let's go ahead and just get to it then. As a matter of fact, he's a guy I have as my non-Cam Ward comfort pick. If we had to get a quarterback and we're going to do it late, this is the guy I would take. I think Daboll would like him for that reason, because he will remind him to some degree of Josh Allen. But we got to decide who we want. If we don't want Sanders because he's not the kind of quarterback that we want, let's just get right down to it and stop messing around. Go ahead and get our BPAs and find somebody that we do like either late in this draft or next year. Let's just go ahead and get to it. But we got a lot to get into, man. Non-first round quarterback options. You threw some ideas together that were fantastic. You talked about what we should do if Milroe or Dart was available in round 2. And then you mentioned Tyler Shuck, Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord, and Will Howard in round 3 and 4. And of course, Gabriel in later rounds. Where are you at with that? I mean, I'm following all of these guys to some degree. I haven't seen a whole lot of Shuck. I've seen some tape, but not enough tape yet. I'm gonna see a whole bunch more before the 24th. I'm making that my plan. What's your feelings about these guys in these respective rounds you laid out? What are you thinking?
So for me personally, I think I would go with like a Will Howard or a Slow in round 3, probably round 4. Because
Okay.
but if I'm the Giants, I think that's all that would also be the move. Because if you're not taking, I mean, if Shador is there at 3 and they just stick and pick Hunter or Carter, to me that is signaling we are trying to win now. Because we want those BPAs, those immediate impact guys. And that tells me that, like, if that's what you're doing in round 1, I think that should be the case rounds 1 to 3, essentially. Now, we do technically have 2 thirds and a very early 4th. So maybe, depending on how certain things fall, you're taking a guy in the 3rd, like Howard or Slow or Ewers or whatever. Maybe you take that guy in the 3rd. But I think I proposed this to you the other last week, or maybe it was over text or just one time we were talking. My kind of dream scenario right now, and now that I said it out loud, I do think this is what I said last week. Hunter Carter at 3, one of the defensive tackles in the 2nd, and then, like, if possible, very unlikely this scenario falls, both 3rd round picks on center guard. Because JMS needs someone to challenge him that we do not have on the roster, because he has not been what we hoped. And then again, even if Neal is sliding over to guard, I'm not sold that he's going to be good. We're not the Eagles where it doesn't, like, you could take a tackle and put him at guard and he's just instantly going to have the best year of his career. That's not how the Giants are. That's not what we get. That's not how things play out for us. And I don't know if that guard would be Ratledge, and then you can take his buddy on that Georgia offensive line, Jared Wilson. Maybe it's Jonah Monheim out of USC, Major out of Texas. I think both those guys are probably going to be close to the 5th round picks. But I'm just listing off the centers here that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't know how I don't know how the board's going to fall with the interior offensive line this year. It's not a ton of great options. But my point is, like, that way you're getting Hunter or Carter in the 1st round, instant impact guy, be it Carter starting over Kayvon or he's going to rotate in between Kayvon, Burns, Carter, or you now have your CB2 / wide receiver 2. If you take Hunter, then you get one of those defensive tackles, put that guy right there next to Dexter Lawrence. He needs the help on that defensive line, even with the moves we made. None of those guys are real needle movers. Something like that. That way, you can then you can just be like, okay, we've gotten some immediate impact guys. Now we can take like best QB available. Have that guy be our third stringer. See, if he really needs to come in this year, Will Howard's, a bit of an older prospect. Let's see what we got in him. Maybe we got something in there. Russ is only here on a 1 year. Jameis is here on a 2 year. See what we got with the mid-round quarterback, like a Dak Prescott situation.
Okay. Well, I looked at all of these guys. It sounds well. I'm about to get into it right now. I looked at all of these guys. I looked at Tyler Shuck. His name is just rising up the charts right now. So that's probably a good thing. I mean, 6'5", 219. I ain't thrilled with his weight, but he can add weight there. Accuracy, touch, deep throw. He got all that stuff down. The challenge that people have with him is that he only had 1 year really consistent production, and he's been injured. And my question is, can he learn at the age that he's at? Can he learn how to adjust and do some things differently that he's been learning in order to be successful in the NFL? And on top of that, will the GM and the AC that's potentially going to lose their jobs put all of their faith in Tyler Shuck? So those kind of things you got to think about. But for me, like I said, my non-Cam Ward, if we can't get Cam Ward, my non-Cam Ward comfort pick is going to be Will Howard. I mean, played an NFL-style offense. I mean, at K-State, he had numbers. I mean, and that was like, K-State they weren't great at that time. He had 48 touchdowns to 25 interceptions out there. He transferred to OSU, 6th in pass yards, 4th in pass touchdowns, 2nd in completion percentage. I mean, he was just out there rolling. Now, the talent that he had in OSU, obviously, drastically different in K-State, so that played a part in his ability to thrive. But he had games against elite defenses, and he had stellar numbers, very little to almost no interceptions against 4 elite defenses in his college career at the last year. High completion percentage and an NCAA title win. So to me, I'm like, okay, this guy kind of checks the boxes off to me. Prototype body-wise, what you want. I forgot what his measurables are. I don't have that written down, but I think it's the kind of thing that the Giants would want to have and might see it as a worthwhile investment, because these guys, I think they've both tied to the Bills. So they what they seen was Josh Allen. And this is as close as you can get.
But I got those measurements for Howard.
What you got? 6'4", what? 240, right?
Yeah, 239 technically, but yeah, 6'4", 230. Like you said, prototype.
Yeah, I thought it was 245, but the same thing. 6'4", 239, 240. I mean, it's kind of what you want. I'd be really shocked. We're not gonna be able to see their draft board and get into their mind, but I'd be really shocked if these two guys that came from Buffalo are not thinking about this man. I'll be blown away. And they're thinking about Shador and not thinking about him. I'd be shocked. I don't care how late he's going to be in the draft. I'm thinking they're trying to find a way to get there. And it can happen at, 65, I think it is, they pick. It can happen. He can be there at 65. So, and on top of that, he's fast too. Also reminds you of Josh. He rushed for almost 1,200 yards, 26 touchdowns. I mean, there's not a whole lot that the man doesn't do. Playing the post-out offense. You know what I'm saying? He got feet. He got speed. He got a big arm. He's accurate with it. Doesn't throw for a lot of interceptions generally. I mean, he had the best completion percentage. And this is a stat where I found, I'm like, this is important. Nobody's talking about this, but I happen to, not that I'm so smart, I just happen to find this. But he had the best completion percentage under pressure in this entire draft class. You think that's important?
for the Giants, yeah.
I mean, for anybody, man. That's the important. That means that he doesn't crumble when the pocket starts collapsing and pass rushers are coming and eat his lunch. He still makes smart decisions and he doesn't, turn the ball over. Do we not need that? We need that more than anything right now, based on past experience. So he's my non-Cam Ward comfort pick. If we can get somebody there for the non-first round quarterback option that you laid out, that's my guy there. If we can get him in round 3, that's fine. If he's in round 4, I'll be very, very shocked. I just don't believe it's going to happen. I think his name started to pick up speed, and if Jackson Dart goes in the first round, like people are projecting, Will Howard's stock is going to rise up faster, I believe. He's going to get picked sooner. Maybe not. I won't say before Milroe. I'm not really sure.
I think Dart's going to go before Milroe.
No, not him. I'm talking about Howard.
Oh, Howard. Yes. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this one.
No, I
feel
think
like he's going to
Howard. I think people are going to like Milroe being a little bit younger. I think they're going to like the potential there. I think that someone's going to try to develop him. I don't know who, but I think someone's going to try to develop Milroe.
Okay.
All right.
That's going to be interesting. So what you got?
Let's move off of the quarterbacks. I feel like we're going to end up talking about them plenty in the coming weeks. Especially when we have some guests on that, we'll tease right now. We're going to have some people coming on who are going to.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Quarterbacks. So let's talk about in the last decade, essentially going back to the 2014, 2015 kind of draft classes. Who do you have as the best Giants draft pick? And who do you have as the worst Giants draft pick?
I got 2 guys for each one, but I'm going to just pick one. I'm going to stick to the script here. I was thinking about Andrew Thomas. I loved him a lot. Bad rookie year, but man, did he come on and become one of the highest ranked rated tackles in the NFL. That's not who I'm picking. I'm going with OBJ. I'm going with Oakham Jr. I mean, came in, I think, 12th in 2014. 12 games as a rookie, set records, 91 catches, over 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, rookie of the year. Even when he was traded, we got Peppers, we got Kevin Zeitler back for him, we got a first and a third, and Dexter Lawrence out of that. So that tells you the value that he had, the on-field value that he had. I didn't care for the bowl situation. That was jacked up. But beside that, it's probably one of the best draft picks we ever have, if not maybe even beyond 10 years, maybe even going back 15 years, maybe. I mean, this was amazing. He's still holding Giants receiving records right now, or at least at the top of it, one of the greats in franchise history, man. The whole city, I remember this so vividly. The whole city lit up when we picked him. And when he did the catch, we thought we were going to the Super Bowl. Just from the catch alone, we thought, are we going to Super Bowl? We can't lose. I mean, it was just, he brought an energy and an expectation and excitement that I haven't seen in who knows how long, man. He was definitely our best pick, in my opinion, in the past 10 years at least. Who you got?
I mean, I want to say Dexter. I think Dexter Lawrence is what he's become, arguably the best defensive tackle in the entire league. Like, I wanted to take Odell. I really did. That kind of is what made me think of this topic.
It's okay.
Like, was Odell. I was even trying to get like a little fancy with it, like talk about some mid-round draft pick. Like, when you talk about quality of the pick, but like I feel like in the end, like it's Odell, it's Dex, it's Andrew Thomas. I feel like it's got to be one of those 3 guys. It's not Flowers, it's not Evan Ingram.
Wait. Are we in the worst category already? We there already?
No. I'm talking about like I'm just trying to think like other first round picks. Yeah, who's been notable? Like, who was our first? Eli Apple was, I think, our 2016 first round pick. In that job, because it went Odell in 14,
Still sick about that one.
Flowers in 15, I think. Apple in 16, Ingram in 17, Saquon in 18, Jones, Lawrence, Baker in 19, Thomas in 20, Tony in 21, Kayvon and Neal in 22, Banks in 23, and the Neighbors in 24. I might have switched Flowers and Apple, but I don't think so. And if I got all of those, I'm going to feel like a real nerd.
Nerd.
I could try and go further back, but
don't do it.
No.
You break our nerd meters. Don't do that.
Yeah. But whatchamacallit? But yeah, so like it's really not a lot to pick from here. Like in terms of great picks. So that's where it gets a little more interesting. Who's the worst?
I mean,
let's stick to the first round.
This guy. Look, I went ahead and pulled this up. This is for fun. I'm trying to take up too much of our time, but I want to see some things too. So I went back to 2014. I know that's where Beckham was at, but Richburg was in that same draft, and I thought we hit by getting him. My personal opinion.
I think that's a hit.
In 2015, the only name that I felt like was notable was Landon Collins. That was pretty much it. In 2016 one, Eli Apple, I can't believe that we took him. I just didn't understand it. I think that was a bad draft across the board, except for the fact that we got Shep. I think that he proved his value over the years. So getting Shepard. Yep. And after that, we had Evan Ingram first, and then Dalvin Tomlinson, which I thought he stayed with us forever. He did not.
Dalvin,
yeah. After that, you got Barkley. That's his year, 2018. Will Hernandez, who I thought would stay with us forever.
Hernandez was okay.
Yeah, and Lorenzo Carter. Okay. One of the guys I was thinking about picking for the worst is at the bottom of that draft in the 4th round in 2018, but Kyle Laletta. I'm like, my God. What,
man?
He couldn't get into the game. Got in, went 0 for 5 with a touchdown, with interception. Never played another down in the whole NFL ever again after that. I'm like, so that was horrible. But I think that are we at the worst yet? Are we there yet? Or are we still working on the bit?
It's worse now, yeah.
Because I don't. There's so many options to me. I'm like, what do I pick? I have so many options available here. People say, "Oh, get Daniel Jones." I'm like, should we have taken him at 6? No. Should we have taken him at all? We talked about it last week. I had other ideas, two, 3 other guys that I would rather have had instead of him. But that's not what we did. But he's still not my worst. Kadarius Toney. Giants fans hate him pretty much universally at this point in time. Yeah. And he won a Super Bowl, so now we hate him even more now.
I don't hate him. I actually don't hate him.
You do.
I love him for helping beat the Eagles in a Super Bowl.
You hate him.
I just do not respect him. Especially with all the smack he's been talking about Giants fans over the years. Do not respect him.
Yeah. Evan Neal's he's low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to do any of that. This guy, I think Eric Flowers was the guy, I thought that he was going to be, I thought it'd be unsafe for him to walk the streets. That's how much he was hated in New York. And I wasn't even living there at that time. I was already in South Carolina, and I already knew that he was. People wanted his soul.
Neil, it's just been like edits of him working at McDonald's. Like you've seen those photos. I know you've seen those photos on Twitter.
Yeah, I seen. People wanted Flowers' soul. That man, it was epic bad. He couldn't make it work. And he went to Washington and had a decent year, and then went back to the way he was. It's crazy. But this guy, DeAndre Baker. He's the guy. I'm like, I don't know anybody else that's worse than this. I mean, there's time that he didn't know the playbook. Then he got arrested for 4 counts of armed robbery. I don't want to drag him in the streets and everything, but it's like,
I think some of that was found to have been not him actually, like somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, but there was a conglomeration of stuff that translated off the field and things we didn't see on the field. And for a pick that high, I don't know how this is not the biggest bust. If there's more, or at least within the past 10 years, if you got somebody that's more of a bust, I'd love to hear it, but I don't know how you find somebody that's not a worse bust than DeAndre Baker. Who else you going to pick, man? I challenge you. Who else you got, man? I can't wait to hear it. I thought he was just like, we wasted our pick on him. It was just, man, ugly stuff, man. What you got, bro?
I've got Neil, and I know it's the low-hanging fruit, but
it works, though, doesn't it?
He was picked top 10. He was viewed as like this top level. The week going into the draft, people were discussing because there was no clear consensus number one pick. Could Evan Neal go number 1? And he falls to 7 to us. Like,
brother,
going into that draft, I was like, yo, my dream scenario for the Giants, Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Lindenbaum. But my second biggest idea was like Neal and one of the edge rushers if Hutchinson fell, if Kayvon fell. And we got one of those scenarios. And Kayvon has been like a C+, B-. Evan Neal just been F-. Like, this man has been so... Eric Flowers wasn't as bad as Evan Neal has been. And that's, again, like you were talking about, that is a low bar. That is a low bar. And Neal, dug underneath the bar. And again, I feel so, like it's so mean. Like, these are people. But, like, they are people, same as you and I. Not that Evan Neal is listening to this podcast just yet. Once we get bigger, he might. But, man, like, he's just been so bad. At the very least, Baker is kind of forgettable. We're not forgetting Evan Neal anytime soon. Like, when people think about that 2019 draft, everybody talks about Jones for negative reasons. Everybody talks about Lawrence for positive reasons. Baker's like never brought up. Like, people still talk about Eli Apple more than they talk about Baker. Am I wrong? I
can concede that that's not worth fighting over.
No. My pick for the worst draft pick in recent Giants history is
I said that because Baker, being a first rounder. On top of that, it was just like, I mean, Evan Neal was too, but it's like, we had 3 picks in the first round. This is the 2019 draft. We talked about it last week. I would have got all the way out of that round if this is what we had to deal with. I mean, Dexter Lawrence was a solid pick. Somebody got that one right. But taking Jones at 6 and taking Baker at 30, I think it was, or 31. I didn't see it. I didn't see the point of this. I'm like, we could have went to the second round and got talent that's still playing today and playing at a high level. But I think you got me in this one, man. I think Neal is probably the. We only got a few minutes left in the show, but I think that at the end that one on a high note for you, just because Neal is like still. I got guys on our flagship show that. I got guys on our flagship show that are apologizing to me to this day. They've been apologizing to me for like about 3 years now. Apologizing to me saying, sorry, we sent you Alabama, Neal from Alabama, and he stinks so bad. They're Bama fans, and they apologizing to me about sending us Neal. To this day, this has been 2 or 3 years. This has been happening. Because he expected to be a lot more than what he actually was, and he just didn't make it. He's a bust, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said last week, I don't want to sit here and wait and see what he does at guard. I'm over it, man. I even commented on one of Patricia Trainer's posts. I'm like, I'm done. I'm out on this. I'm not trying to sit here and see what he does at guard. We've seen so much already that's like, what could he possibly do at guard that would change your mind? What can he do? If he's marginal, you're going to feel better about it? will he have a little bit less bust potential? I'm done, man. My mind is closed off to this. I don't even want to see him on the team anymore. We need to go in the draft and get some guard help, like you suggested earlier. Get some guys from UDFAs. I'm okay with that. Bring some guys in that can actually play guard or actually play tackle.
I'm going to end it with this on the Neal stuff.
Oh, boy.
If Evan Neal leaves the Giants, signs with Philly, and then has a career resurgence,
I don't care.
I'm going to lose my mind. If he
can't control that
with the Saints and has a career resurgence, good for you, Evan Neal. Good for you, New Orleans. If this happens again,
I got to try to help you. Just some things are attitude and mindset, man. Something's not even talent. It's attitude and mindset. For him to be a first rounder, somebody had to see something in him. But we shouldn't be shocked if he does go to a different place with a different mindset, with a different coaching staff, and has a resurgence. I'm good with that.
He goes to a different team. It's specifically Philly. Philly.
I didn't know.
They were able to out Mekhi Becton and Becton then got a bag from the Chargers off of that 1 year.
You're still wounded, man. That's what this is about. You're still hurting, man. That's what this is about.
Yeah, I don't think the hurt's ever gonna go away.
I don't receive that. It has to go away at some point. You can't be like this forever.
Give me another few years.
You can't. I don't want Barkley to win another Super Bowl because I think I'm gonna have to come to where you are and really help you out. You might really need help. That might be too much for you. But that's all good though. But this has been fun, man. I'm excited about where we're headed. Like you said a little while ago, we got some awesome guests coming through. Are we on the map? I don't know, but we're gonna have fun getting there, man. I'm enjoying this ride with you, brother, and this has been fantastic, man. And let's keep doing good, solid work, man.
Yeah. Can't wait for next week. Can't wait for the week after that. And then the week after that is the draft. So yeah. I'll be live sitting there in the studio, breaking down every single pick that comes through. I'll be listening in.
I don't want to hear that. I told you that. Now I'm gonna have to say it in public. I don't want to hear that mess. Show up and be in the studio, pal. All right.
All right. Well,
we got to root for our Giants together. Who else am I going to do that with? Come on now.
I don't know, Ben. Austin.
He doesn't. Neither he's not a Giants fan. They might be there, but they're not Giants fans. You are. So show up, pal. All right. And cut the crap. All right, man. But we having a great time, man. And thank you for all you guys that are listening and watching our show and supporting us. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to our work on Twitter and on all social media. Thanks for following our show. Give us a boost, man. Like and share us. Have a fantastic day. Big Blue Lifers out.